Picture this, a group of vampire bats soaring through the dark skies in search of their next meal. These little creatures are just like the mythical vampires they're named after, as they rely on blood to survive. But don't worry, they usually go for cows, pigs, horses, and birds. Although every once in a while, they may pick a human. It's really rare. Rather than drinking blood like vampires, these bats make a tiny incision with their teeth, then lap up the flowing blood with their tongues. They're so smooth and dainty that they can actually drink blood from an animal for more than 30 minutes without even waking it up. Plus, this action doesn't even hurt their prey. Vampire bats have a lot of special talents to help them with their feeding. For example, they can detect prey by listening to the sound of animal breathing. They're even able to recognize the breathing patterns of one particular animal, for example, a cow, and go back to it night after night. Hey Pete, this one's delicious. Let's come back here tomorrow. Now, here's something you might not know. These flying mammals can walk, run, and jump, unlike other bat species. These abilities help them catch their prey. They also have heat sensors to help them locate the perfect spot on an animal's body to feed. And their strong hind legs, along with a special thumb, help them take off after they've finished their dinner. But what happens if a vampire bat can't find its nightly meal? If they go 2 nights without feeding, they won't survive. Luckily, some of these bats can be pretty generous towards one another. When they're well fed, they'll often spit up food to share it with other bats in exchange for grooming. And did you know that female bats are especially friendly to new mothers? How sweet is that? Meet the Egyptian tomb bat. A spooky sounding name, huh? The body length of this creature is around 3 inches, with different subspecies varying in size. This little animal loves to hang out in ancient Egypt's dark, uncanny tombs. They look pretty cute with their big eyes and tiny ears, though. They love snacking on insects and roosting in cozy corners. Plus, they play an important role in maintaining the ecosystem by keeping insect populations in check. In the last decade, researchers discovered that bats could carry viruses, but I'll get to this dangerous part in a minute. Next up, we have a gray-headed flying fox. It's one of the biggest bats in Australia, with a wingspan of over 40 inches. It's like a bird, but cooler because it's a bat. A gray-headed flying fox is a sleek dark brown creature with a touch of pizzazz, thanks to a gray head and an orange-red mantle around its neck. Think of it as a bat that's dressed to impress. This fella hangs out in all sorts of places, from bustling urban areas to quiet forests, woodlands, and even intertidal mangroves. At night, this flying fox spreads its wings and flies up to 31 miles and then chows down on some yummy fruit. They're not picky eaters and will happily munch on native and introduced species, with figs being their favorite. They're such fruit fiends that they've earned themselves the nickname fruit bat. They also have a sweet tooth for nectar and pollen from native trees, especially gum trees. The gray-headed flying fox loves nothing more than to hang on tree branches and chatting with its bat buddies. They form camps of thousands of bats, which makes them the ultimate party animals. Even though they're social butterflies and love to hang out in large groups, gray-headed flying foxes are actually in decline due to habitat loss. We need to protect these furry creatures because they play a crucial role in healthy forest ecosystems. They pollinate and disperse the seeds of many important tree species. If you're looking for this bat, head to Eastern Australia, including Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria. The tricky part is that you need to stay away from them. There are over 1,200 bat species on our planet. Now let's take a look at the bumblebee bat. It's also called Kitty's hog-nosed bat because of a biologist named Kitty Tonglongia who discovered them. These creatures are one of the world's smallest mammals. They weigh less than a penny and can fit comfortably on your finger. You can only find them in Thailand and Myanmar. Bats are awesome creatures, but let's face it, they can also carry some diseases. Let's begin with rabies. Bats are actually the most common rabid animal in the US. If you find a bat in your home, try catching it for testing. I know, it won't be easy because they fly around the house randomly like there's no tomorrow. But if you catch them, you can determine whether you need to get vaccinated against rabies. To keep bats out of your home, you can take some simple steps. Seal up any holes they could use to sneak inside. You can also use clear plastic sheeting or bird netting to help bats find a new home outside your house. And remember, always follow local rules and laws about removing bats because some of them are endangered and need special care. And what if you've been bitten? Bat bites can be super tiny, so even if you're unsure whether you got bitten or scratched, it's best to talk to a healthcare professional just in case. Better safe than sorry, right? Don't try to make friends with bats or touch them if you're outside. Just let them do their thing and enjoy the show from a safe distance. And if you do come in contact with a bat, wash the affected area thoroughly with soap and water and seek medical attention ASAP. One thing to keep in mind is that only trained and vaccinated people should handle bats. So unless you have those qualifications, it's best to avoid handling these little creatures altogether. If you encounter an injured bat or flying fox, resist the urge to play hero and help the animal yourself. Now, let's talk about the diseases bats carry. One of the most well-known is the Australian bat lice virus. It's spread through contact with the saliva of infected bats, which can happen through bites, scratches, or coming into contact with mucous membranes or broken skin. The infection causes a rabies-like disease that's usually fatal, but don't panic just yet. There have been only 3 documented cases affecting humans, all of which occurred in Queensland. To avoid this disease, remember these 3 simple steps. Don't handle bats unless you're trained, vaccinated, and wearing appropriate gear. Wash any bat bites or scratches with soap and water for at least 15 minutes. Then apply an antiviral antiseptic and seek medical advice about rabies vaccination within 48 hours of potential exposure. Another virus to be aware of is the Hendra virus, which can be transmitted to humans through close contact with the body fluids of infected horses. The natural host for this virus is the flying fox, but there's no evidence that it can be spread directly from bats to humans. Finally, let's talk about rainwater tanks. While rainwater consumption is relatively safe, managing the risks associated with using rainwater tanks is important, especially if you have a weakened immune system. The bat-related viruses cannot be contracted from drinking or using water from rainwater tanks. For households using rainwater for food preparation and drinking, the risk of getting a gastro illness from bats is no different than getting it from other animals, including birds. Pets should also be protected. Vaccinating them against rabies and keeping them on leashes in public spaces to prevent contact with sick wildlife will definitely help. If a pet has come into contact with a bat, it should receive a rabies booster vaccine right away and be tested for rabies to determine if quarantine is necessary. Don't call the police if you see Batman. He's a different kind of bat.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.